Hello, you beautiful souls, and welcome back to another episode of Authentically Me. And in this episode, we are going to dive deep into understanding depression, the journey of depression, what it's here for, and how I want to give you another perspective on what you're currently going through if you're suffering with depression. And before I start, I just want to say two things. Number one, if you are on medication for depression, I am in no way, shape, or form telling you to come off your medication in this episode. And number two, the information that I'm giving in this episode is what I believe to be true. I am no way asking you to take what I'm saying as the truth. I am just giving you this different perspective so you can perhaps think in a different way. Okay? Because I believe everything in this world is teaching us a lesson for us to grow and evolve in our journey as a person here. Depression itself has come into your life for a reason. It's there to teach you a lesson. And if I'm honest, I truly believe that depression can be the biggest catalyst of change, evolution, and growth into you becoming the very best person that you can be in this world. It's just how you approach depression, which is going to allow you to use it, okay? Use it, understand it to allow you to be the best person that you can be. So, yeah, be ready. We're going to dive deep in this episode. I'm quite excited actually. It's been brewing for a while, this episode, and I've been thinking of so much that I want to share with you because not only have I been on a journey of going through depression twice in my life, my mum's also experienced depression. And for my own journey, along with my mum's, I have done quite a lot of research into understanding what depression really is. So yeah. I think I'm going to begin with telling you my journey with depression actually. It's happened twice in my life. Once when I was 11 years old, from the transition of secondary, from middle school to secondary school. And it was really hard for me, really hard. I didn't realize at the time that I was a person that didn't like change. Okay. So going from a school that had around 300 children in a quite a close knitted community, staying in the same classroom with the same teachers, to a school of over 1,000 children. The school was actually 3 times the size of my secondary school. Moving to 6 different classrooms with 6 different teachers in a mixed ethnic area was really, really difficult for me. Really difficult. And I'd gone from a class that was very quiet to a class that was actually the most naughty class in all of our year group. It was a real, real struggle for me. And this whole process, I was trying my best to work with it, but nothing could prepare me for how I felt every time I used to walk into school. I can't even describe the feeling, but I just didn't feel like I belonged there. It was the whole, now I understand it for what it was. The whole energy and the whole way it felt to me didn't feel comfortable for the type of person that I am. And the environment. The environment was very hard for me to adjust to. And during this time, I tried my best. And after a few weeks, I started crying every time I'd go to school. Every time I'd go in the door, I would absolutely hate it. I would count the minutes and the seconds until my day had finished, and I'd run out the school gates. And I'd be so happy. But then once I'd get home, I'd think, oh my God, that means I have to do it all over again tomorrow. So I would look forward to going to sleep every night through exhaustion and crying, but then I would hate to wake up every morning. And it got to the point that I actually said to my mum, I don't want to wake up tomorrow. And as an 11-year-old child, that's probably one of the hardest things that my mum ever heard. So she decided to take me to the doctor, and I went to go and speak with a counsellor. I personally didn't feel that the counsellor supported me at that time. I can remember very well that all he used to do, and I don't think it helped because it was a he as well, but all he used to do was listen to what I had to say, wasn't giving me solutions, wasn't giving me tools to support me in how I felt. He didn't validate my feelings. The only thing that he would do is allow me to have a deeper understanding of what I was already going through. And that actually put me in a deeper, darker place, if I'm honest. I remember at one time he said to me, he said, "Is there like someone sitting on your shoulder?" And I was like, yeah, I just went along with it. Because again, I was just waiting for every session to be finished because this was about the third or fourth session and I just didn't feel like it was helping me. So he was like, "Yeah, is there someone on your shoulder?" I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "What does it look like?" And I was like, "Oh, it's just round with no ears." Um, my mum still takes the mickey out of me till today about that. And he was like, "What's he telling you? Is he telling you all these bad things?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah." And he said, "Just don't listen to him." As an 11-year-old child, I don't understand what these words are. I don't understand that something's in my head telling me all these bad things. I never got that. And in the end, after that session with him, I said to my mum, I was like, "Mum, can I please not go back again?" I started to feel a little bit better before I spoke to him. And now I feel even darker being in this place. I don't feel that he's helped me. And I really don't want to go back again. And I didn't. And luckily, I managed to get stronger day by day. And by the end of my first year in the school, I was a happy little chappy. And I managed to get on with life at school. And depression didn't come up again. And if I'm honest, I truly believe looking back that I just found small ways that I could get stronger every day to go forward with school because at the end of the day, nothing was going to change. I had to learn to live with that. And I managed to find ways as an 11-year-old child to live and adapt to the change that I was going through. And if I'm if I'm being honest, looking back, I kind of just put all the feelings that I felt under the carpet. I didn't really try to understand how I felt at that time. Fast forward to 2020, when COVID hit, I went into another state of depression. Not only had I been out, I'd broken up from my relationship 18 months prior, my ex had gone absolutely crazy and decided to stalk me in more ways than one, to the fact that I couldn't move out of my apartment without him knowing or without someone following me, which was really, really hard. I lost two of my jobs because of him, because of how he was following me where I worked and what he was saying about me as well. And when COVID hit, I unfortunately lost my job as well. So not only did I lose my relationship, which I was trying to avoid thinking about because I was working so much, I lost my job. And I didn't actually know what the future held for me because COVID had hit and the tourism city that I live in completely closed down. I literally was sat in a pit, not having a clue where to go for the first time in my life. And all of a sudden, all the memories came back of everything. Me being depressed at school, the all the emotions that I'd put under the carpet with my mum and dad splitting up, um, me grieving my old life in the UK and moving here, me grieving no more future with my ex partner. All of this had all come to a head, and the fact that I didn't have a way of avoiding it sent me into a really dark place because all of a sudden, everything just went dark. And I think that's the best way of describing depression, is that you are in darkness. And a lot of people don't actually understand what that truly means. So now it comes in what I believe the definition of depression is. When you are depressed, I believe that the truth of who you are, your soul, is pushed all the way down into a box. And our souls light us up. And the reason why we go into such a dark place is because our soul is pushed down into a box that much that there's no more light of our souls left. The essence of who we are has gone. That's why we end up in a dark place, because nothing in this world is lighting our soul up anymore. We have become a version of ourselves to please the rest of the world that's actually taken away our light of who we are. Society has told us to be something. Our parents have told us to be something. Our friends have told us to be something. Our relationships have told us to be something. So when we keep listening to the outside world, as example, my parents want me to be a doctor, but I want to be a hairdresser. If you are following what your parents want you to be, you are dulling down your light, because in the truth, you want to be a hairdresser. That's what's going to light you up. That's what's going to make you feel so happy. Yet you're going to be a doctor just to please your parents. Can you see the difference of how that small little thing has dulled down your light in you? It's made you not feel as happy as you would have been if you was a hairdresser. Society itself expects us as women to look a certain shape. So if we don't have the boobs, the bum, the hips, we don't feel like we're good enough. If we're not seeing a certain number on the scales, we don't feel that we're good enough, because society is telling us that on the TV, in magazines. All of this is dulling us down because we're putting attention into how we look when it's never actually about how we look. It's about who we are on the inside. I have met people of all shapes and sizes, but that doesn't take away the beauty of who they are as a soul, who they are as a human being. I have met the most skinniest of people that are so arrogant and so miserable and so stuck up, yet I've met people that are quite large that have the biggest and most beautiful personality ever. Why? Because she's standing in her light, she's standing in her space, she's standing in her authenticity, and shining her light to the world, because she doesn't care what she looks like, because she knows who she is on the inside. She doesn't feed to what society's telling her to be. She's embodying who she is, which is not allowing her to be in a place of depression. Again, when we're in relationships, it could be that you have a partner like mine who you never felt good enough with. So you was always trying to prove yourself, prove that I'm a good cook, prove that I'm a good wife, prove that I'm a good mom, prove. And when you're trying to prove all of that to him, you're forgetting about who you are in the process. And when you're doing that, you're taking away your light, you're taking away who you truly are, and you are depressing the truth into a box. And you can only depress yourself so much before there is no light left. And this is when you get in a state of depression. Like it says it in the word, depression. Because you've depressed so much of you that you've actually lost yourself. And it's only in the darkness can you then start to find, well, what actually lights me up? And I know so many people in depression, as I did, focused on the past. Oh, at that point, I was so happy. Why can't I be like that again? You've just told yourself in that sentence, why can't I be like that again? Your mind is a very powerful thing, and the thoughts that go through it are what's controlling your reality. So if you're saying that you can't be like that again, you're actually telling yourself that you can't. How about saying to yourself, I wish I could be like that again? I wish that I can be like that again is a lot more powerful to your mind than saying that you can't. You can't hitting your head against a brick wall. I wish is opening the whole perspective up of maybe it could happen. And the reason why you're looking back on those versions of yourself is because those versions of yourself was when your soul was lighting up. Your soul was doing what it truly wanted to do and was finding happiness and joy and freedom in that moment. That's why you keep referring back to that. So, as a little exercise for you right now, when you're referring back to that version of you, what are you desiring from that version? What do you want from that version? Why do you keep going back to that version of you? What is it about her? And how can you do things today to bring that version of you into today's reality? Because when you're looking back at the past, it's asking you to look back for a reason. It's asking you to learn from that version of you. That's what it's asking you to do. This is exactly how I navigated my own journey with depression. I very much sat with all of my feelings and I allowed, for the first time ever, I allowed the feelings to come out. I allowed the tears to flow. I allowed myself to feel and feel emotions that I didn't feel that I was prepared to feel. Emotions around failure, feeling like I was a failure, emotions of shame, emotions of disappointment, because I was too scared to accept that of me. But in order to become the best version and the most authentic version of yourself, you need to accept every single part of you, the good, the bad, and the nasty. Because believe it or not, the bad and the nasty parts of yourself that you believe are bad and nasty actually aren't. Someone's just programmed you to believe that about yourself. You wasn't born a nasty person. You wasn't born a bad person. In actual fact, you was born perfect. This world has programmed you to believe that that's something bad about you. People around you have programmed you to believe that that part of you is bad. That personality trait is bad, when in actual fact it's not. That's just a projection of stuff that they don't like about you based on how they view the world. It's nothing to do with you. And this is why in depression, you've been bogged down with so many beliefs of other people that it's got too much. And it's the true lesson behind depression is allowing you to find the truth of what do you believe to be true? Who are you? What's your definition of you? And how can you be unapologetically you in this world? That's the lesson of depression. And you're probably sat there thinking, how can I do all of this when I have all these thoughts racing through my head? And this is where the deeper work comes in, which is what I provide in my mentorship, is understanding all of these thoughts that go through your head have a smaller lesson behind it. And every single time you understand the thought processes that are going through your head, where it's coming from, and healing that, it's only when you heal it do you then find a missing piece of yourself. And when you find that missing piece, that is a missing piece of your light. So when you heal it, you take back that light, you take back that missing piece, and you put it back into you. And when you put that back into you, guess what? You slowly begin to reclaim your light of your soul back to you, step by step. And it's only when you start to rebuild that light are you then going to come out of the depths of the darkness that you're already in. That is what the deeper work is around depression. And there is so much shame in this, so much shame in this society. I got mixed with the S's then. So much shame in this society around depression. And the reason why is because it's not truly understood. And so many people will say, yeah, but it's a chemical imbalance, hormone imbalance. Right, okay. It is a hormone imbalance, but why is it a hormone imbalance? Hormone imbalances come from trauma, which is triggered from the nervous system, which is triggered from the way that we think in our minds based on things that have happened to us when we were a child. This is why the inner child healing that I do is so important, because we go back to the root of where this programming that is no longer serving you in your life right now comes from. We go all the way back to understand the hurt that you felt at that time, which triggered your nervous system to act in a certain way when something happens. So I want to go a little bit deeper into this so you can understand, okay? Because the mind is a very, very powerful thing. Very powerful, okay? So I will give you an example. When I was a child, I was very close to my mum. I did everything with my mum. So at the time when I went to nursery, it killed me at that point when she decided to leave. Okay. It was very, very upsetting for me as a 3-year-old child with the person that she's been with for so long leaving her. And at that point, I had so many emotions that come up that in my mind, it programmed me to believe that when someone leaves me, this is how it's going to feel. So that program then inserted into my computer of my brain. And what happens is when it's stored in your brain like this, if a set situation comes up in your life that is 80% similar to a past memory, you have the same reaction. So 25 years later, or 20 years later, when I would ever have an argument with my ex and he would get really annoyed, really rude, and he would then leave. So then when he would leave, my subconscious would then remember the time when my mum left me when I was a child. So I would not only react in the same way, but my nervous system would be impacted in the same way. And when our nervous system is impacted like that, that's when we have an unbalance of the hormones in our mind. So if we are consistently triggered in life based on previous hurt that we felt as a child, we are going to build up a constant imbalance of hormones in our mind, which is then going to lead to the depression, which is then going to lead to the medication that you then use. But the thing is, the medication that you are using and the hormones and everything that's in it, you can get the same feeling based on doing other activities that bring in more of these hormones into your life. By you doing small acts of self-love and self-care, you can increase your happy hormones within your body to then counterbalance things that are going on. We just don't know the depth of this work, because when we go to doctors and nurses, they only tell us the surface level. And this is why I'm doing this episode, because I want to give you a deeper understanding of depression. It's not just a surface level thing, it's a lot deeper than that. A lot deeper. And it's only when I understood the depths of this was I then able to transform how I viewed my life and how I was able to get me back again, how I was able to get myself out of the hole that I was in. And you can do exactly the same. I actually have a tattoo on my back, and I will post it on my social media. And this tattoo is highlighting my journey with depression. It's a moon with a lotus flower with a sun at the top. And it means that the moon in my darkness was what kept me going. I went through the difficult journey, as the lotus does, through the mud, all the way to the top of the water, when it blooms and sees the sun once more. I went through the difficult journey of finding the beauty of who I am to get to the light again. And you can do exactly the same. I had my moon, which was different people in my journey of depression that allowed me to be supported and guided me in the darkness, because that's what the moon does. The moon guides us in the darkness, guided me through my journey back to the light again. And if you are listening to this with depression, I want you to know that you will get there. It's just, this has come to you as a lesson for you to know the truth of who you are and for you to get you back again. So it's kind of asking you this: do you want to stay in the darkness that you're in, or do you want to reclaim your light again? If you want to begin to reclaim your light, be the best version of yourself, there are people out there to support you, including me. This is why my coaching program is there. It's there to support you in understanding who you are and to get you back again. And you can use depression as the biggest catalyst in your own journey. Depression is teaching you to be and to find your true self. I use depression as a catalyst, and it has helped me in more ways than I can even imagine. And it can do the same for you. I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now if it wasn't for me learning the lessons of depression. I have reclaimed parts of me that I didn't even know existed. I didn't think that I could sit on here and talk to you like this, but I am. And you can do exactly the same. So I really hope the wisdom of this episode has supported you in your journey. I hope it's going to uplift you, and I hope it's going to give you a different perspective. If you desire further support, please reach out. You can get me on all my social media platforms, or you can email me info@jadelouisetibbles.com. I can support you in my coaching program, or if you just want to be validated and understood and know that someone is there, my inbox is always open. And for now, just know that you are perfect just how you are. There is nothing wrong with you. You are a gorgeous human being. And it's time for you to grow and evolve on this journey. Take the lessons, and trust me, your future self will be so thankful that you did.